What makes you happy? How do you know when you're happy? And how would you describe the feeling of happiness? I decided to search up the definition of happiness on Google because I love Google, and it told me that the definition was the state of being happy. I mean, that was pretty obvious. So then I did some more digging on Google to find a more helpful definition, and I found one that was a little bit better, and it said that happiness is that feeling that comes over you when you know life is good and you can't help but smile. I thought it was super cute, but it's not exactly what I was looking for. So I decided to make up my own definition, which I'll share with you guys later. So I get excited whenever I get or buy something new, and I'm sure the rest of you do too. As humans, we tend to think that money and buying new things are what we want in life. Many people think that having money and being able to own anything is the dream and will bring happiness. But the materialistic things on earth are not what we should be striving for. We should be striving for a closer relationship to God. I used to think that my main source of happiness came from hanging out with friends, buying new stuff, getting good grades, and even doing well in sport. In high school, I was very focused on being the best at everything and wanted everyone to think that I had my life together. I was convinced that if I was the best, then I would be happy because I thought that success meant happiness. I would try really hard because I thought that if I was successful, then my life would look perfect. I set goals for myself that would lead me to success, so I ended up getting the good grades that I wanted, and I became the captain on my high school ice hockey team. Hockey has always been an important part of my life. I grew up with my uncles playing hockey and watching every game with my family. I started playing hockey when I was 9 years old and played up until this year. I wanted to be the best at hockey on my team, so I worked hard. I knew that if I was good, then people would notice and would compliment me on the cool move I made or the sick goal that I got. And while it was always nice to receive a compliment, my desire to be good at hockey got to a point where I'd be hard on myself whenever I got criticism or I didn't do well. Once I realized how much it affected me when I didn't do well at hockey, it made me realize that hockey should not be my main goal in life, and I should focus more on things that would help me to become a better person. Hockey did make me happy, but it couldn't be my main source of happiness. One thing that I've learned about happiness is that I always want more. As human beings, one of the desires that drives us is the desire to be happy. For me, I chase after happiness when I choose everything that I do. I watch movies and shows that make me happy, I eat food that makes my stomach happy, and I do activities that make me happy. But the happiness in these things only lasts for a little bit, and it's not constant. The most constant happiness I've experienced comes from my relationship with Jesus. I didn't realize how much my happiness depended on God until I decided to deepen my relationship with Him. One day in prayer, I was thinking about how our goal is to get to heaven, and how when we go to heaven, everything we own here will be left on earth. I realized that nothing I have here is as important as God. What types of clothes we're wearing doesn't matter, if it's name brand or not, if you have a fancy car or not, because either way, God is more important. During this time of prayer, it made me want to focus more on my relationship with God rather than what I own on earth. There are so many blessings in every day that God gives us that we don't even notice. An example could be hearing someone laugh or the beautiful weather we've experienced. In these little things, God is working. He gave us friends and family members to have conversations and to laugh with. He gave us the blue sky and the bright sun. Through these little things, God brings us happiness. God supplies all the joy that we receive through every single day. He is constantly giving His love to us every day, whether we know it or not. He is the supplier of our happiness and joy. One way of bringing happiness into our lives is through love languages. This year on my team, I got to learn more about love languages and what they are. I learned that there are 5 types, and they are words of affirmation, which could be complimenting someone, quality time, which is hanging out with someone, physical touch, which is giving someone a hug, acts of service, which could be helping cleaning up after dinner, and the last one is receiving gifts. That one's pretty self-explanatory. My favorite type of love language is quality time, but I also love acts of service. This is because with quality time, it allows me to get to know someone better, and with acts of service, it's where I can show my appreciation for them by helping them out with something. Knowing your top love language is important because it gives you a deeper understanding of how you appreciate being loved. Knowing your friends and family's love languages are very important as well because you can learn how to show your love to them. By knowing your friends' love languages, it can bring more happiness into your life and to others around you. For example, I know that Ariana's love language is quality time, and Maura's love language is words of affirmation. So if I wanted to help cheer them up one day, I could go for a walk with Ariana and have an intentional conversation with her. And for Maura, I could write her a letter telling her how much I cherish our friendship. By the way, Maura, I cherish our friendship. When we decide to do something kind for another, it brings us joy as well. In 2 Corinthians, it says, "Remember this, whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and whoever sows generously will also reap generously." This means that whenever you show an act of kindness to someone, you will receive happiness in return. God places many opportunities for us to sow generously in our lives, so then we can also reap generously. God is in each and every one of us, and He works through us whenever we decide to do something kind for one another, or when we decide to do any action that has a positive outcome. God knows everything about you. He knows that you would be sitting here today, listening to this talk at this very second. He knows what we need in our life, and He supplies us with happiness, joy, strength, and so much more. He's the key to everything. God knew that in high school, I'd be focused on success and what people thought of me. He wanted to help me understand that success wasn't where my happiness came from, it was Him. Now before I finish, I wanted to leave you guys with the definition of happiness that I made. Happiness is what I feel when I go for a run in the morning, catch the sunrise, and see the beautiful colors that God has allowed me to see. It's when I talk to my family and hear all the good news that has happened to them, because God is blessing them. It's when I pray and I know that God has put me in this exact place for a reason. God is my happiness. I want to encourage you to turn to God when you feel like you need more joy in your life, or need to be reminded where your happiness comes from. For example, a prayer I would say to God would be, "Dear God, I'm struggling to find the goodness in this situation right now. I know that you are where my happiness comes from, and I know you will give me strength. Please help me to be more joyful, and help me to share that joy with others around me. Amen."